Have you ever found yourself pulling into the parking lot of your job and sitting in the car because the last thing that you want to do is walk inside? You might get there 10 minutes early and be like, you know what, I'm going to sit here till like 8:57 because I'm not going to be in there for a minute longer than I have to. I had plenty of jobs like that in my 20s as I went through all of my schooling. It was 10 years of college and medical school, and I had all kind of jobs, and pretty much all of them I had that sentiment at some point. And what got me through it was knowing that when I get my real job as a real plastic surgeon, I won't feel this way. I felt like I was just kind of paying my dues and going through the motions that I had to go through to get to my goal of becoming a plastic surgeon. So fast forward 16 years of school and training, and I finally got my first real job as a plastic surgeon. And for the first 6 or 7 months, it was awesome. You know, I was making all this money. I had my own patients. I could do these great operations on people. I'm like, wow, I can't believe people are trusting me to do this stuff on them, you know. It was awesome, right? And then after it was about 7 or 8 months in, as my schedule got busier because I had been there for a while and word of mouth started spreading and I had more patients, I found myself pulling into the parking lot of my office and not wanting to get out the car. And I'm like, this wasn't supposed to happen when I became a real plastic surgeon. And it started to happen more and more as I got busier and busier. What I noticed was that the days that I had a full schedule that was jam-packed with patients, those were the days that I didn't want to get out the car. And the days that it was light and I only had a few people to see and I had time to talk to them and bond with them, those were the days that I liked. But the problem with that was on those days where I got to talk and bond and there wasn't a lot of people, we didn't make a lot of money. And I liked the money, right? But then on the days when it was really busy and they were rushing me in and out of the room, they're like, Myla, you got to get out of there because I'm a talker. I've always been a talker. I've been getting in trouble for talking since I was little. So here I am in these rooms with these ladies. They were awesome people. I'm like, you know, if they would have something going on that I felt like I could help with, I wanted to do that. But there was nothing in the business plan set aside for me to do that kind of stuff. They're like, get in and get out. It's another person. All they wanted me to do was go in there, give them my surgical diagnosis, come up with a surgical plan, and get out so I can get to the next room so that I can have a bunch of surgeries on the schedule so I can make a lot of money. And that I did not like. I like doing surgeries, I like making money, but I didn't like being rushed in and out. I didn't like rushing the encounters. So I knew there had to be something else. And I would just complain like, can we just loosen up the schedule a little bit? Can you just not put so many people on there? They're like, time is money, time is money. Myla, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I'm like, that is so stupid. That's what you're supposed to do with cake. You're supposed to eat it. Like, why not? It never made sense. Everybody says that, and it makes absolutely no sense. So I started realizing that in order for me to get to the point where I could have fun, do surgery, be the talking plastic surgeon, I probably couldn't do it within the blueprint and the confines of their structure. So I said, when my contract is up, I'm probably just going to need to go out on my own. So I met with the SBA loan consultant to work on my business plan, and at our first meeting, he looked at me and he said, so what's your goal? And for the first time, I never knew this was my goal. It kind of just fell out of my mouth when he asked me. I think it was God dropping it down in my spirit and putting, letting me know where I was headed. But I said, my goal is to make plastic surgery a hobby. He was like, huh? You're gonna make being a plastic surgeon a hobby? Like that is like what? So it was funny because he thought I was crazy, but I felt liberated when I said it. I'm like, yeah, plastic surgery is gonna be a hobby, right? I had no idea how I was gonna make that happen. But the good thing about hobbies is that you enjoy them. There's no pressure. You're not worried about money. You know, you do it on your terms. That's how hobbies work. That's what I wanted plastic surgery to be, except I had no idea how I was going to do that. So I'll go ahead and go through the motions of making this business plan with him. I knew I sounded crazy. Every time I would try to talk to people about the way I was feeling, they kind of looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, why aren't you happy? Like, you're a plastic surgeon. Why aren't you happy? And I was happy with that. I mean, it was a huge accomplishment. Less than 1% of surgeons are African-American females. So I know that was kind of sweet that I pulled that off, right? But it still just wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't enough. I knew I had more to give to this world than just doing surgery on people. I knew that there was more in me that God wanted me to do. So when my contract was up, I left. I left that place. I moved to Atlanta. No one knew me there. I said, I didn't know where I was going to live. We were staying in a hotel for a couple of months. I was a homeless plastic surgeon. Didn't know exactly where I was going to put my office. But in the meantime, while I was getting all that stuff sorted out, everybody thought I was crazy. I just didn't listen to that stuff. I just kept listening to my intuition. And I got a contract position working for this company that it was a liposuction center. And all they did was lipo, cheap lipo. And so I didn't even let them put my name on the website. I'm like, nobody needs to know I'm here until they get here and see me. Don't put my name on your site. But it was a way for me to start putting work out in the community, keep my skills up while I was getting my practice thing figured out. And I had no idea what God was doing, what he was doing with that whole situation. When I started working at that place, I interacted with so many women who were pretty much putting their lives in danger for liposuction. They were there because it was cheap. A lot of them came there after they got a cheap surgery somewhere else and got disfigured. As I started to preach to these ladies, I'm like, wait a minute, okay. Once I got to realize the common theme amongst the people who came there, I would say, what made you choose this place? Because they didn't know I was there, okay? So I would understand if they knew I was there, why they chose the place, but they didn't know. So they would tell me the price. The price is if you choose a plastic surgeon based on the lowest bidder, that gives you the highest likelihood of dying from it. That gives you the highest likelihood of being botched from it. And that was like the sole thing that they were using to decide who they would go, where they would go. So I pretty much became obsessed with this whole thing. And I started researching, and the more I looked around, I realized that there were way worse situations women were putting themselves in. And I felt like there's got to be something I can do to like show people and help people, like shake them and make them understand that that this isn't how you do it and this is not safe. So I just did what I knew best. I started running my mouth. I got on Facebook, pushed live on Facebook Live, and started talking about the dangers of plastic surgery. I started talking about the people you should avoid, the situations you should avoid when looking for plastic surgery. I talked about all these things that was basically against plastic surgery while I'm trying to set up a plastic surgery practice. And everybody's like, Myla, do you think maybe you shouldn't do that because maybe you won't get patients if you keep talking about how dangerous plastic surgery is? Now, nothing inside of me felt like it was wrong, even though it kind of didn't make any sense. The weirdest thing happened. The more I spoke, the more patients I got. The more I spoke, I got news and media opportunities, speaking engagements, because everybody wanted to hear this plastic surgeon was talking against plastic surgery. And the ladies who were interested in plastic surgery, they knew that I wasn't going to put them in danger. When I was teaching them how to be safe, it made them trust me. So even though it sounded crazy and went against what most people's, not my intuition, but what most people's intuition would tell them to do when they're trying to grow a business in that field, I still did it because God, my intuition told me to do it. So what I want to do is help you figure out how to get down your path of what you should be doing in the situation that you're in. In my opinion, the key thing that you need to do is first, which I was missing at first. I didn't realize that I didn't have this. I didn't understand all this purpose stuff and, in medical school and residency, nobody cares about purpose. They care about teaching you medicine, teaching you how to do surgery, the bottom line, and results. Nobody gave a crap about purpose. I didn't hear about that stuff until I got out of that world. Well, I'm not out of the world, but until I got out of the structure of that world, I didn't get to hear about that stuff. But I think it's important that you have a mission for your life. So for me, what my mission turned into was I wanted to be able to inspire women to live confident lives and unleash their inner and their outer beauty. What I realized with all those women who were putting their lives in danger is that the inner stuff was messed up. Because if you really love yourself on the inside, you won't put your life in danger for some liposuction. There's stuff on me that I don't like, and I'm not going to change it if it's going to put me at risk. So I felt like it was important for me to be able to help women to get their inner beauty out also. So anytime an opportunity comes along, if it's not in alignment with that mission that I have, it's out of here. If it violates my inner and outer beauty, unleashing a woman's inner and outer beauty, if it violates that, I'm not going to do it. I know because that came to me from God. I know if I stay in alignment with that I'm doing what He wants me to do. So that's the first thing. Get a mission for your life. That might change over the course of your life. That's fine, but get a mission. The second thing is when your intuition starts telling you something, when you start feeling shifty or like this, I don't know, maybe it's something else, listen. Because I believe that your intuition is God whispering to you that he's trying to take you in a different direction. And you have to listen to it. The problem is most people will get that intuition and then they'll start praying. I'm going to pray about it. Praying is good. I pray all the time. But you can't just pray. You got to move too. When God answers the prayer, if you don't like the answer, you can't just ignore it and start praying some more. Right? That's what people do. I'm going to pray. I'm like, well, probably if you're talking to me about this, you already prayed about it and God dropped me in your presence to help you move. It's time to move. You got to move when you start to have those prayers and listen to what he's whispering to your soul. So even when I had this intuition to talk about the dangers of plastic surgery, God he knew what he was doing. I didn't know exactly what he was doing, but I knew I was supposed to use this mouthpiece and start teaching and sharing and saving people. That came first. The third thing you have to do is channel your inner toddler. What does that mean, right? Have you ever watched a toddler play, like a 2-year-old? They could care less who's watching them. They could care less what other people think. If it's something that they want and it's in your hand, they'll walk right up to you and take it and walk off and play with it. They don't care if somebody's like, that's rude. They don't care. They spend their entire day exploring and doing what their intuition tells them to do. And over the course of that few years of being a toddler, they grow exponentially. Adults grow slowly because we're too busy worried about what they think, what they said, if it's safe, am I going to die, am I going to be able to pay my bills, all of these things that we start thinking to keep us stuck and to keep us praying over and over again over the same thing that God answered already. So you need to channel your inner toddler. When you start to feel unrest, that's because you're supposed to be doing something else. If it's something that you want to do, go do it. There's never going to be a perfect time. You're never going to feel ready. But if you want to step into that zone that God has created just for you, you have to channel your inner toddler, that prettiest part of your soul. You have to dig into that. You have to decide to go and move when he tells you to move so that you can go and boldly step into the life that God has created for you. Thank you.